What's happening, boys and girls? How the devil are we? Shanksy here, and welcome to my roster reviews, where we review yours, well, maybe not yours, but somebody's roster who's got in touch with me about it, and we check out everything they're working towards, all of their characters, all of their teams, and see if there's anything I would do differently. Now, keep in mind, guys and girls, you are a huge part of these roster reviews as well, because I really look forward to reading your comments at the end of all of them and see what you would do differently as well if you were to take over the roster we're about to look at right now. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's happening, boys and girls? How the devil are we? Shanksy here, and today's roster we are going to be checking out Big Fat Joe. Big Fat Joe has been playing for 664 days. In that time, has spent between 200 and 300 quid, so nothing crazy, and amassed a total collection power of 5.6 million with an absolutely whopping 501k strongest team power. He's been War MVP 5 times for them absolute legends over there at Stan Lee FC. Massive shout out to Stan Lee. And he has collected 139 characters, 49 of them at max rank. All-time arena rank is 61, and his latest arena rank is 136. In this, he's got a lot of the newer characters that aren't yet really built up, so we're going to be having a little look what ones to focus on there. Also having really a good look for top priorities and what to work on next. And of course, having a little look at Ultima 7 as well, and working out what characters are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, depending on lane, obviously. And we'll go from there. Stick around. All right, let's start from the top of the shop and those favorited. We've got Shield Assault there at 57k. Literally looks like he's just topping up those last 92 shards. And I've got to be honest, Shield Assault is very, very important within that whole Coulson Fury Shield team. I don't think that's a bad move at all, especially when you're so close to finishing them up, right? Negasonics there as well, obviously now farmable through Doom War. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Carnage up there as well, Shocker, Green Goblin, and they are the ones favorited. Now, depending on where we are with the rest of the X-Force, farming out Green Goblin and Shocker could be a really good move. Maybe more Shocker than Green Goblin. We don't know what that's going to look like once Doc Ock drops. But I think Shocker's definitely going to be in there for some reason. I find it like he's a really important part of that Sinister 12 now we're up to, or whatever. But what is the real top of the shop? We've got an absolutely humongous Rocket Raccoon, and I think that may actually be the biggest Rocket Raccoon once I move my big fat head out of the way. At 107k there, 6 red stars, level 75, gear tier 14. Black Bolt there at 103k, gear tier 14. Phoenix there at 101k, gear tier 14. Hela there at 94k, gear tier 14. And Symbiote Spider-Man as well, gear tier 14. Looking really nice. Now, depending on where we are in Dark Dimension, I know you've just about started it. We're going to need to start looking at bringing more globals up now, because at the moment it's only Phoenix that you've got for global. So it's going to be impossible with just Phoenix. Maybe a little bit of backup like Colossus or something like that would give her a little bit more survivability. Right, then we go to Colossus already there. I like your style, see? Unagi, baby. Right, then we go down to Luke Cage. We've got Punisher in there, Scientist Supreme, Security there at level 71, Magneto there at 70k, Storm there at 70, nice red stars on Storm there as well. Star-Lord, Nick Fury, Colossus there, gear tier 14, 73k pretty much behind my big fat head. Right, then we go down, we've got Iron Fist, we've got Minerva, level 75, gear tier 14. Got some really nice characters here at gear tier 14. You know what, it might not be that hard for you getting through Dark Dimension. I would definitely look to cement that with a little bit more global, but looking good so far. We've got Captain Marvel there, level 75, 68k. Invincible Woman at 68k. We've got 64k there on Thanos, and I would well and truly recommend taking him up to 71 as quick as humanly possible. Get that extra resistance on him. He is one of the key components in like that whole More in Order U7 team. And to be fair, you don't actually need Ebony Moore in More in Order. You need Thanos, next to Black Bolt, and then you can put Minerva there in Moore's place, and that's a hell of a U70. Then even whack the symbiotes there, or maybe Shuri for the defense up. Lots of options at that point. Right, Loki there. Then we got Agent Coulson, 58k. Got Captain Marvel at 57k. Drax there, 57. Mystique, okay. Moving down, we got Falcon there, level 70. See, a lot of these guys now, if anyone is there to apply buffs or debuffs or things like that, so like Yo-Yo, for example, you got there at level 71, I would definitely recommend taking the rest up to 71 as well. It's a big gold investment, but I feel like 71 is so worth it with that extra focus, extra resistance, especially for characters such as Psylocke, right? Right, then we move down. We've got Domino there, 46k on Domino. It's one of the things that I wanted to check out on as well, is how close you are to Doc Ock. So 4 stars there on Domino, 4 stars on X-23. Could possibly be in with a shout of getting Doc Ock this time around. Definitely. The second they become farmable or start opening those Blitz Orbs up for Domino, fingers crossed, you'll be in a good spot to get Doc Ock when comes out. Vulture there at 41k, Ant-Man at 41. We've got Red Skull there at 36. Could be worth a bit of a boost, especially for like war. Saying that, I see a lot of very tricky 200k, 180k like Hydra Red Skull teams, and they're the type of team that you don't know what to throw at them, you know. So it's not actually a bad shout leaving him where he is pretty much. Hulk there ready to go up to 7 stars. But 55 at the moment, 36k. Ghost Rider at 36. So Supernatural's a little bit lower down the roster than what I'd expect normally. Doctor Strange there at 33. Venom there at 33. Obviously with Symbiote Spider-Man at Gear Tier 14. Carnage being favorited at the moment. Venom ain't a bad shout to start working on as well. Then we go Graviton. Who else we got? Moving on. We've got Killmonger there at 30. Shuri at 30. Now, I've got to be honest, I think that Shuri is far too low, dude. Far too low. 5 red stars on Shuri. She's looking awesome. She is a phenomenal, like, substitute or even part of a main team in a Dark Dimension. Not Dark Dimension. In an Ultimate 7 run. That defense up, that heal, that clear negative every now and again from herself is absolutely massive. Do not sleep on Shuri, dude. She is absolutely phenomenal. Right, then we move down. Anyone else down the list? Anyone else in the list? Not really. Pretty much everyone that you'd expect to see. Wakandans are super low. AIM's pretty low. Quite a lot of the new Avengers are really low. And right, now we come down to Mr. Sinister, Strife, Cull Obsidian, Proxima, Orvus, Cyclops, Ironheart, all slap bang at the bottom. Now, I know that you're about to get Ebony Maw on the next time round. So this really is a no-brainer. Thanos up to level 71. Proxima, Corvus, Cull, all favorited. Start working on them. They're insane. I would also be working on Mr. Sinister and Strife. I really like these guys. I love the Emma Marauders team. And I feel like Mr. Sinister is one of the best underrated characters in the game. I really do. So I'd definitely be working on Mr. Sinister. He is absolutely awesome. Then we got Toad, we got Blob, so really low new Brotherhood, super low Beast as well, and Squirrel Girl. I've got to be honest with Squirrel Girl, I'd probably leave her where she is, as I would Ultimus and Stitcher and things like that. But this is going to be a real tricky one, guys, because you guys know in war, especially in War Offense, I love the new Brotherhood team. Literally one of my favourite teams to use. But on the flip side, we've also got the makings of the Marauders team here, and obviously we have got the best team in the game here. So I think it's a bit of a no-brainer where we've got to start working on Black Order. That's got to take top priority. But as a secondary priority, who would it be? Let's have a little look at the save squads and we'll find out. Right then, boys and girls, having a little look at the save squads. Top of the shop. I'm guessing this is our U7 team, right? What I would like, or what I would recommend, is probably putting in Thanos in this position here for Ultron. Then moving Minerva over one here. And at that point, you can pretty much get rid of Yo-Yo. This isn't actually a bad team, but we don't have Shuri as a backup for a second team. And that's one of the big things I think that Shuri gives you, is actually allows you to make that second U7 team, which can be absolutely huge. You want to get to the point with U7, especially towards the higher difficulties, of countering the node, as opposed to this is the team. So, like, we see all these videos all the time, right? The best U7 team. I done one ages ago. But now with the different difficulties and things like that, it's more about tailoring it for the node. And I think Shuri, Thanos, Ebony Moore is going to give you a lot of different things. Mr. Sinister comes in there. Carnage once he's up. All of these guys really do work in U7 in different ways at different nodes. You know, you look at different nodes, charging up Storm, if you're in the middle lane for that Ronan node, you know, all these different things all play a part. So definitely a solid U7 team, but there's lots of characters that you can sub in and out to really make the most out of that per node, as it were. Then we go down to basically the real top of the shop is the X-Men team there at 358k. Absolutely nothing wrong with this X-Men team whatsoever. Personally, I prefer Beast in this spot. I know a lot of people prefer Cyclops, but Psylocke is just as good. No matter what you do to them, no matter who you put in that fifth squad, the fifth space, they're still the second best team in the game. Obviously, with Black Order being absolutely insane. And then Inhumans pretty close to that as well. But yeah, really, really solid there. Nothing wrong with that. Then we move on to the Asgardians. Massive Hela. I would probably have Hela favorited, but she's towards the top of your roster anyway. So I'd be farming out Hela shards every single day without a shadow of a doubt. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Then we go down to the new BKT team. Now, once you get Black Order up and running, Thanos will be moving shit, and Vision is a very, very, very good person to put into that team without a shadow of a doubt. Once Thanos moves over and creates his new little home. Then we've got the old Brotherhood. I really like the old Brotherhood. Nothing wrong with them. Not quite as good as the new Brotherhood. But again, we don't have Strife. We don't have Sinister built up. So at this point in time, this definitely does make the most sense without a shadow of a doubt. Now, what might be worth doing is bringing up Toad and Blob first, as opposed to Mr. Sinister and Strife. So then you basically get their replacements for this team straight away. And then you move Mystique and Sabretooth off. You could do it either which way. Mr. Sinister is probably more important all round than either Toad or Blob, in an all round sense that you can use him in Arena, Dark Dimension, Ultima 7, all that type of thing. So Mr. Sinister is probably the better character. In all fairness, actually, I'm going back on what I just said. Bring up Mr. Sinister first and then work around it. Then we move down to the Ultron team. This is very, very similar to the Ultron team that I use. It's basically Ultron and my next 4 characters that are high rank that aren't being used anywhere else, because Ultron still carries that. Makes a lot of sense. Fantastic Four looking good. They're pretty solid, man. Obviously, gear tier could be a little bit higher, but 270k at this stage, looking good, man. I wouldn't be focusing on this team. Not one that I'd be worried about at this point. Same with this Coulson Fury team. Really, really nice. I would get Shield Assault topped off because you know what, you're 92 shards away. But if you were like 300 shards away, maybe I wouldn't even contemplate it. I'm not sure. This is a tough one. It's only 100 energy a day or 80 energy a day or whatever it is. So I don't know. Defenders team looking really good. Nothing wrong with that. Solid positioning. I wouldn't do any higher with them. That's a very big defenders team. And yeah, if they go any higher, it's because you've got crazy lucky with red stars or something. They're all gear tier 13. Leave them where they are. I like it a lot. Then we move down to the Hero Brawlers team. Now, one thing I would say, your X-Force are pretty decent anyway. Find a different Hero Brawler to take this. Even if it's not a crazy big Hero Brawler, find a different Hero Brawler to take this. Now, what you could do is bring up either Beast or Cyclops and put in Psylocke in this place. And yeah, that could strengthen both teams, as it were. And then you're not going to duplicate Deadpool on a double team. Then we move down to the Inhumans. absolute bloody legends. This team will absolutely crush it, mainly because that's an insanely big Black Bolt. Now, I've been using this team a lot recently without Quake and putting in Ultron. Now, if you're using them to counter the Emma Marauders, especially in war, maybe have a little look at that Karnak, see if we can get him a little bit higher. Nothing crazy, just a little bit higher in gear tier to make sure that he always applies that disrupt to that strife. Then we move down and we've got X-Force, absolutely spot on with this team, looking really nice at 242k. Everyone is super close as well. We're like 90 shards off on 2 different characters to really push for Doc Ock. I'm perplexed with this one, guys, because I think Doc Ock is going to be, again, game-changing. Do we stop work on everything but X-Force to push that over the line? Or with Domino being so RNG dependent, I feel like Black Order's got to be the right team to work on. Right, then we move down to Sinister Six, and this goes into my thing. If we're going to work on X-Force, then let's work on Sinister Six. But if we're not thinking that we're going to get Doc Ock this time around, then Sinister Six don't really need to be worked on. Power armor there at 200k. I would like them a little bit higher, but with the red stars that are on them and things like that, maybe that's not actually a bad level for power armor whatsoever. Just due to the red stars, you don't want to push them up too crazy high without the red stars to back them up. There's some characters that can get away with it. There's some that could really do with a little bit of extra power. And I feel like the power armor are one of them teams, right? Then we move down to the symbiotes, and again, Carnage is already favorited. Definitely worth working on Venom. And Spider-Man or Miles Morales are also opportunities that they could go off to that Hero Brawlers team. And there's a lot of people that fit into this squad that could do a bit of a job for you. Then we move down to the Supernatural team, 184k, a little bit lower than I would like. And one thing that I have noticed as well is your power levels are literally all over the place. Now, for a blitz rotation, it might be worth sorting them out into order. And basically, during your first blitz rotation, work from the bottom up, so the lowest team power to the highest team power, and then once you hit 8.3, start at the top down, so you're going from the highest team power to the lowest team power, 8.3, because they're normally about 3/4 of the way down you might lose, and then you use the lower ones to get yourself back up to 8.3, if that makes sense. Right, then we move down to the Kree. It could be worth finishing off just these two because of how close the rest of that Fury team is. There's food for thought there. It's not a bad argument. I'd have to go back, check how many shards we are away from these guys. It's probably worth finishing up, right? Hydra team, as I say, that 176, and with the war buffs and things like that, they're going to be about 220k. It's a very confusing team to work out what you throw at them. I quite like Hydra Red Skull being this low, mainly for the confusion purposes. So I like it a lot. This team will give you a huge amount of bang for your buck in war, without a shadow of a doubt. It's decent in some of the raids, not all of the raids. Taskmaster is absolutely usable everywhere, though. Absolutely usable everywhere. But again, I think no matter what team we're going to be looking at, and there are individual characters such as Taskmaster, such as Shuri, that we can definitely be working on as quick as possible. I think the overwhelming thing is get that Black Order up. You know yourself, that Black Order is going to be game changing in a lot of different places. AIM team, nothing wrong with the AIM team. I'm not a huge fan of oh no, that's not Researcher, that's yeah, you know what, I thought that was Infected for a minute. It's not. I'll shut up, let's move on. Right, then we go down to Wakanda forever, baby. And as I've already said, Shuri is one of them characters that definitely deserves to be towards the higher echelons of the roster. Absolutely phenomenal super sub. So definitely worth working on. The hand team, leave it where it is. Not worth moving up on at all. Obviously, do the people that you need to for Phoenix. Other than that, it can go in the bin. All right, let's be fair. Then we move down to bit of a random offshoot, and then we've got the new Avengers up here. Now, one thing, while you're not using this team, it could be worth whacking in Ant-Man over here, or just at the very least getting Hawkeye up just a little bit to make make the most of this situation over here. But yeah, I quite like all of these teams. What would I be working on if this was my roster, if I was to take over right now? There is another team just below, but unfortunately I don't have the screenshot of this team just below. But I don't think it's going to change what I'd be working on at all. Top priority for me would be Black Order, without a shadow of a doubt. Getting Thanos up to level 71, getting Cull, Corvus, Proxima, all up to level 71, without a shadow of a doubt. Ebony Moore's going to be unlocked real soon, and the second I get Ebony Moore, up to 75. No two ways about it. And then obviously gearing them up. Now, they're all going to require quite a lot of the same gear, and it's not going to be a very, very quick, like, right, boom, blitz them up. So at the same time, I would be working on X-Force. So I'd be working on X-Force. X-Force is going to do really good at war, and they're going to give you that unlock for Doc Ock, fingers crossed. So they would be the two main teams that I would work on. Other than that, your teams are all pretty much there or thereabouts, you know. It's now just going to be a case of slowly chipping them up. Think about characters that are going to be super versatile, such as Mr. Sinister. Well worth going to be putting on some mats into him and forming a whole new team off the back of that as well. So, individual key characters, Shuri, Taskmaster, Mr. Sinister, not necessarily in that order. Probably Shuri, Mr. Sinister, Taskmaster in that order. And then Black Order with X-Force being worked on in tandem. That's what I would be doing. It's a lot to be doing, but I think that's where the big gains are going to be coming from. Boys and girls at home, what would you do right now if this was your roster? Big Fat Joe needs to know, and I'm really, really curious as well. Guys, that is it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed the roster review. Massive shout out to Big Fat Joe. Thank you for reaching out, dude. And love your face. Guys and girls at home, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up or don't. Hit that subscribe button or don't. It's really your call, baby, but I would super appreciate you if you do. And Discord links are down below. Live stream links are down below. All that type of good stuff. Until next time, be smart, be strong, be safe. And I'll see you on the flip side. Just take it easy, Commanders.